What's up, you guys? Good morning, good evening, or good night. Today we're going to be watching Can Fat and Fit Influencers Find Common Ground? It's a Jubilee video. I watched about 3 minutes of it, so I was like, you know what? We're going to watch it together. I'm going to give you my thoughts and reactions as a certified personal trainer and online coach. So let's just get into it.
My name's Timothea, and fitness has been a huge part of my life, and I love to share what I know about it. Overall, it's just a way of life.
My name is Tyler. I'm a fat influencer, and on my platform, I like to spread body positivity.
I just think it's funny that like he's just sitting there and like there's the voiceover. I don't know why they could just do the voiceover while he's sitting in the chair. They're just staring into space. That's not related to the video at all, so continue.
Mental health awareness, and fashion, looking good while fat.
So when I think of the word fat influencers, I think of influencers who are either promoting others to be fat in the same sense that fitness influencers promote fitness.
68 grams of protein coffee? That is crazy.
I don't like people that obsess over being fat, just like I don't like people that obsess over fitness. I'm in my own fitness journey and a lot of people like it because I'm not the stereotypical dude.
The misconception that the opposite side has of me is that I have some agenda to keep people fat.
Okay, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, her face is just sitting there just twitching. And like, why are they making them do that? Like, it seems so unnecessary. Anyway.
Step forward if you agree. I promote healthy standards as an influencer.
To discuss what healthy means first, because healthy means many different things. So, like, what does health mean to you guys?
So I just want to give my explanation of healthy. For me, healthy is number one, prioritizing movement. It doesn't really matter what kind of movement that is. As long as you're staying active, that is definitely going to have health benefits. But I do definitely advocate for strength training because it is the best thing for you, especially as you age. You're going to keep that bone density. You're going to keep your muscle mass, which will decline as you get older. And having more muscle is just overall better for your general health. Now, it also means not having a super high body fat percentage, because what I think these people might disagree is that having too high of a body fat does actually cause issues. You know what? You can play devil's advocate there and say some of these things aren't directly linked, like causation, but they do correlate very, very heavily. And you're just putting yourself at an increased risk of diseases by having such a high body fat. Also, I do think diet is important, not just if you're skinny, okay? I don't think skinny is the epitome of health either, but make sure you're eating enough protein. Make sure you're eating enough healthy fats. That's super important that a lot of people miss out to regulate your hormones. And of course, having enough carbs. I mean, the only reason why I'm going to say you definitely need to eat carbs because technically it's non-essential. Obviously, it helps with lifting, but also that's where you get fiber. Okay, and fiber is super essential, especially if you want to prevent colon cancer, and you want to protect your gut. And the only way to get fiber is through carbs. And then also micronutrients are super important as well. So getting enough vitamins and minerals. If you are deficient in certain vitamins and minerals, you're not going to feel great and your health is not going to be up to par. Okay. And obviously you can survive by eating like crap and not working out, but that's not healthy. Okay. That's just surviving.
For me, I don't focus on diet and weight loss as a tool for health and how I communicate that. I focus on movement and finding movement that works for you, that feels good and is sustainable in your body. Because ultimately, I think everybody would agree, movement is healthy, exercise is healthy. In the fitness world, and I myself am a yoga instructor, so I kind of straddle both sides.
I just want to say, yes, movement is important, but again, that doesn't make having excess body fat okay. You should strive to first maybe focus on movement that feels comfortable for your body and that works for you, but also take control of your other habits that are leading you down a path to get to this size where it's ultimately going to impact your health negatively.
I think there's an overemphasis on physicality and diet and exercise.
There definitely is a big emphasis on like aesthetics and how you look, which is fine. If you want to look good, you can look good, but health is more important, right? No one is saying you have to be super jacked and lean. As a guy, you don't have to be like 200 pounds lean and have an insane amount of muscle mass and like see all your veins. You don't have to have that. And as a woman, you don't have to be super ripped, okay? But again, there is a standard for health when it comes to how you look. Now, these people aren't super, super obese, but if you are like 400, 500 pounds or you are like 60 pounds, you're obviously not in control of your health. and you can tell by how your body looks that you're gonna have some problems.
Personally, I'm a fat guy, and I've been tired of being a fat guy. And I've actually been told that my approach to it is a little bit extreme. So, I'll do like 24-hour fasts, I'll do intermediate fasting, liquid diets, things like that. Some people say it's an unhealthy habit. They say like I got an eating disorder, but at the same time, I am seeing results. I do feel like I can run faster, jump higher, walk longer. I kind of feel like when I hear the term fat influencer, I'm thinking like an unhealthy standard being set. I just can't get behind being complacent.
Well, I want to say that it doesn't mean complacency, right? So,
Oh, he mad. He's definitely, I could tell by his face when he was talking about that, he was not enjoying that. Now, I will say there are definitely more sustainable and approachable ways to lose weight. You don't have to do 24-hour fasts. You don't have to do, I don't actually recommend doing like water diet or drink diets. However, different methods work for different people. If this is working for him, and this is something that he's not going to just go back to his old habits once he's done because he's completely miserable. If he knows it's only for a short term and he's doing this just as a method to get the weight off, and then has those habits in place, having normal portion sizes, having a good balance of your protein, your carbs, and your fats, having good exercise habits, when he has those, when he loses weight, then that's going to be okay. The issue that we have is people do these quick fixes and then they don't build the habits and then they just go back to where they were. But I do really like that they have someone who is still a little overweight and is on the fit influencer side because he's actively in his health journey. And I really like that fresh perspective. I think it will be interesting to see how they communicate. So let's see what this guy says.
right, so a little bit about me is that I was a 3-sport athlete.
And also, I think if you're not trying to reach your potential when it comes to health and fitness, you are being a little complacent, but that comes with everything. Okay, I'm not going to say you have to strive to be the strongest, best version of yourself, but I think it's important to have some drive, don't just be comfortable with being average or being okay. If that's what you want for yourself, that's fine. But a lot of people have that deeper desire to become better. And if you want to get better, you have to do hard things. And if you're just okay with how things are going, it's fine. It's good to love your life, good to love how you look. You should be happy, but also strive to be better.
Almost my entire life, went to college and played a sport, and then I decided, I've always been, a big person, and I was able to manipulate my weight because I also wrestled. So I would bulk up for football season, lose for wrestling, and rinse and repeat. Because of that, though, now my approach is really just about making sure that you take care of your total self, so your mind and your body, and also just making sure that you check in with medical professionals. I work in healthcare, and so I don't tend to take advice from people who are not medical professionals.
I think that definitely going through the motions of having to lose weight and gain weight for sports definitely has an impact. But I do really like what he's saying about mental health as well, because it is very important. It is just as important as your physical health. So it's important to take care of that, but you shouldn't neglect your physical health because of that. And when he's saying he doesn't take advice from anyone who's not a medical expert, that's fine. But you do find a lot of medical experts. Like if you go to a dietitian, if you go to doctors, they're going to tell you, they should tell you the actual benefits and the negative side effects of being overweight, not prioritizing your health and wellness. I doubt any doctor is going to say you're fine at over 300 pounds.
And I would just like to speak up. There are fat influencers out there that have unhealthy lifestyles that share it, but that's their lifestyle. There are fat influencers that are motivational, that are trying to lose weight. There are fat influencers out there that just are existing in this world and trying to make it accommodating to themselves and people that look like them. So there are so many fat people in this world, and to label them all a certain way or to put them in a category where they have to perform to make you feel comfortable is disingenuous. It's not good.
I don't really get her point there, but also I guess this is just my perspective. When I make these kind of videos or I give this kind of commentary, I'm not saying that if you're overweight, you have to do these things, okay? You have to lose weight or you have to prioritize your, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't affect me at all, okay? But it does affect you. And if someone's out there and they think they can't lose weight or they're people are telling them they're perfectly healthy the way they are, but they feel awful, okay, and they realize that this is not the life they want, then if they see this and they're like, wow, you know what, I actually can do it, then that's great. No one can force you to do anything. And being overweight, at least for me, like seeing an obese person does not make me uncomfortable. I feel like that's such a weird statement, and they're trying to sound like it's a lot worse than it is. Again, I've never been in her shoes, so I don't know what she's been through, but like, I think most people generally are just trying to help. But maybe I'm a little in a bubble when it comes to that. I don't know.
Well, that's what kind of upset me. That's why I started my journey at the end of the day, was because, you know, I was depressed. I lost my job in the midst of COVID, and I'm unhappy with who I am. And then I see someone on social media that's like, it's okay to be who you are. And I was like, you're telling me that the way I feel is okay, but at the end of the day, I hate how I feel. And so it was kind of out of protest that I started this journey. And I'm damn glad I did. At the end of the day, you're doing a disservice to the people around you that care about you, whether it be close, relatives, society, etc. And to see someone use a platform like that as a fellow fat kid my entire life, it just pissed me off.
I hear what you're saying, and it's valid. I've been fat my entire life. I was a fat kid, fat teenager, fat adult, just fat. And
I love this guy. Everything that's coming out of his mouth, pure gold. It's true, because when I'm yapping so much, but if you're telling someone who's like an alcoholic or someone who's addicted to drugs, no, it's fine. Like, this is your truth. Like, it's healthy as long as you feel okay. No, there's things in place for a reason. There's a reason why people say not to drink so much alcohol. There's a people why drugs are banned and they're illegal. Like, obviously food is not banned, but like that was maybe a stupid comparison, but like there's a reason why that we have classifications for overweight and obese, and there's a reason why people tell you should probably lose weight, because they do cause issues. Now, I just want to make this very, very, very clear. It's okay to have a little bit of excess body fat. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's a difference between having a little bit of body fat, like a little bit of a tummy or thick thighs or whatever, and being over like BMI chart obese. Okay, the people who say BMR is not applicable are either one, in denial, or two, an outlier. Okay, if you have a lot of muscle, but you also have a little bit of body fat, and you're like a big guy or girl, yeah, the chart may be wrong. That's why we have DEXA scans and other forms of measurement. But for the average person, it's gonna be pretty accurate. Okay,
And I see that played out over and over and over again in the world, in art, in TV, in movies, like the sad fat trope, nobody's gonna want you, and that plays into the way we treat fat people, but that is not everybody's story. So I hear that you were sad, you were unhealthy, you were uncomfortable, you were isolated, like we can all relate to that, but that is not the story of every fat person.
she just said we can all relate to that, but that's not everyone's story. I have a hard time believing that she never had issues. Like, again, I don't know her personally, so I'm not gonna be like, she definitely, but if she's not huffing and puffing, like by the time she's walking upstairs, like I know she says she's active, but her energy's definitely gonna be a little on the low end. Her sleep's not gonna be great. I mean, those are proven facts that are complications that come with being overweight. So
Every fat person.
I am on a journey to like myself in my skin. And that is something I believe is
again, love this guy. I want to say something else though. That you should love yourself no matter what you look like, okay? If you're chasing a certain body type to be happy, you're never gonna be happy. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't want what's best for you. That's why I have a hard time agreeing with these fat influencers or fat positive influencers, because I'm all for body positivity. But when it comes to being okay and just being, there's a difference between loving yourself and being okay with it. I can even relate this back to Christianity when it says God corrects the ones he loves. I'm very much paraphrasing there, but just because he loves us, just the way we are, okay? That doesn't mean that we shouldn't change, okay? Because there's a better life for us when we live a way that we're not living right now. So yes, love yourself through all of your stages, but also love yourself enough to take care of your body and go for like reach your goals, like actually put in hard work. And I love this guy. I can tell like he's hungry, okay? He's hungry. He's ready to make that change. I mean, he already is, and he's seeing progress, and that's probably what's firing him up. But I just, this excites me. Like, I love this. I love this. When you're in the middle of a transformation, that feeling is completely unmatched. Like, you're putting in the work. It's just the best ever. So I hope this guy, I wonder where he's at now. Maybe we should check this out after. This is 4 years ago.
Nothing else attainable through hard work and dedication. I mean, nothing else worked, you know? Loving yourself, quote unquote, made me eat KFC 3 times a day and gain a lot of weight and turn sedentary. Hating myself encouraged me to be different and encouraged me to change my life. And as a result, I've influenced thousands of kids younger than me's lives.
Fat shaming is worse than
It's the same crap, okay? That's like people saying, listen, this might push little buttons, but you can be racist to any single race. It's the same. It's literally the same, okay? Just because one people have it worse doesn't make it better than doing it to someone else. You're still a horrible person. It doesn't matter.
When you thin shame somebody, it is based off of aesthetic. Like, oh, you're so skinny.
No, I mean, I guess to some extent, but I also had people being like, you're too skinny. Like, people told me that because I used to be like 80 pounds. Granted, I was like 15, 16, so I wasn't like super old or like matured. Not like I'm that much older now. She is kind of right. Like, people do that, but also I've had experiences where people don't. It really just depends on personal or I don't know what I'm saying.
I wish I could be like that. I wish I could eat whatever I want and stay skinny. There are these assumptions we have about people in fat bodies that we don't place on thin people, even if they're thin beyond health. And it really makes it so that fat people are overlooked, and it creates an environment where it's okay to perpetuate hate and even violence, you know?
Being thin won't limit you from being able to shop where you want to shop. You can walk into a
Not true. Absolutely not true. See, this is the thing that grinds my gears a little bit, because yes, okay, it is hard for them because they don't have clothes sometimes in their size, which, you know, a little telling, I will say. Like, if you're that overweight that like a 3X is not going to fit you, like, that should be a sign. But also for me, I was a 000, sometimes even smaller. That was a sign for me too. I was like, dang, I can't say this small because no clothes fit me. I could never say, I'm getting a little heated, but one, I mean, I have no boobs, so that's another thing, like, tops didn't fit me. But pants, it was impossible to find pants that fit my waist. Everything was so loose. Pants, a little bit better. Shorts were the worst. Skirts, I think I only started fitting the skirts like last year, okay? I could not find anything that fit me because I was so small. And that's not the store's fault. That was my fault for being this way, okay? Clothing stores don't have to accommodate you. They're meant to put out clothes, yeah, for like general public, things like that. But also, like, if you're not fitting, they're made for the average, okay? They can't make super tiny clothes just for me. Like, I'm so special, okay? Because I don't fit clothes that the average person fits. They're not going to waste money just for little me. Okay, same thing. If you are bigger, they're not going to just spend money to have an excess amount of things for the chance that you might come in and buy it, you know? That's why there are things special made to order, and you have to order online. They have them ready or whatever they do. So that cannot agree with, because that's just not true. It goes both ways. If you are an outlier, that's just how it's going to be.
clothing store, get clothes right off the rack. Sometimes even have excess. You could go up or down the rack. In my experience, those are not my options. I shop online because I wear a size 15 shoe, because I'm 6'2", and I have a very broad body.
The skinny shaming, you know, there is that backhanded compliment. You know, you see that all the time. But when it comes to the fat shaming, you just see more negative out of it. And I just, it's horrible to see.
But being fat is still taboo, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I don't think it's taboo. This was 4 years ago. I will say, like, this is what, like, I feel like the height, or just before the height of the body positivity movement. So that's why the opinions might be a little bit outdated. But fat is not taboo anymore. A lot of people are overweight. So, I don't know.
I'm a gay man dating another fat black gay man, and we have gone viral on the internet a couple times. And you know what some of the comments were? Never seen two fat people together. I get pats on the back for posting a picture at the beach with no shirt on. Why am I being patted on the back for that?
Right.
Can the disagreeer step forward?
Well, when I hear fat shaming, skinny shaming, all that stuff, I just think back to like middle school, high school, picking on kids. It's bullying. I believe everyone goes through body dysmorphia. One of my homegirls is a model, and she's always complaining how she doesn't like the way she looks, even though like 99% of all women would probably prefer they looked like her. She hates the way she looks, and she's like, I wish my boobs were bigger. I wish my butt was bigger. I believe, that's the media, that's the entertainment industry, is they have a standard of what, at the end of the day, is desired, I guess, but not everyone's built like Marilyn Monroe.
You said 99% of women would probably want to look like her. That's to me, some of the language that is the problem, is that I'm assuming that she's probably of a thinner body,
Fair.
right, because she's a model, but a lot of women don't. It's okay. Your body you are the standard. You are the model. You are the beauty. Like the fact that we think like that already is still what the problem is, and it's still why, to me, fat shaming is worse than the skinny shaming. Because like even our language, I know people just desire this really thin body. It's like that's the language in the language. When I get negative comments about my relationship with my partner, I kind of like to troll back. For example, if I tweet a picture of us kissing or dancing, people will spew the homophobic slurs and stuff. So I like to then just share more pictures of us kissing and really double down into it and let them know, honey, we're here to stay. The girls are not going anywhere, and just letting them know that I'm confident in myself. I'm happy, I'm in love, and I'm living my life.
I don't think I've ever been shamed for my body. I was always moving. I was always, I stayed fit my whole life. To be a fitness influencer, you have to have that image, that skinny, fit, toned look. That's really not the case. If you have the knowledge, if you have the passion to want to help people with their fitness journey, it doesn't matter. I highly believe that.
I feel pressure to look a certain way for my followers.
Yeah, that makes sense. He's on a weight loss journey. He's gonna expect people to, people are gonna expect him to continue to be losing weight. Now, I wanna say, I don't necessarily care about myself, like how I look in front of my followers, just because I stopped posting so much of like my body. But I will say, there was a point where not that long ago, I was in my bulk and like my views were getting less because number one, my content definitely got worse. Like, my content does suck. But I did kind of think that, I look uglier now because I'm a little fatter. Not fatter. I have more body fat. And I was so lean before. Like, I could just post my abs. And then it would get... What the frick? That's gone. I would post my abs and I'd be like, abs. Toned arm, bicep vein. That would get, like, good views, good likes. I could do that in the beginning of a what I eat in a day and it would go viral. So now, like, I can't do that because I just don't look like that. And there is a certain pressure that comes with being on social media. But at the end of the day, like, it's your account. So if anyone is aspiring to, like, post on social media, you just have to not care. And I know it's a lot easier said than done, but these are random people that you don't know. And while I do appreciate the people who do follow me and comment, like, at the end of the day, it's my account and I'm doing this to grow my page and it's for me ultimately to grow my business, things like that. So if Sally doesn't like the way that I look, if Brad thinks I'm getting too chubby or wants me to go back to how I looked before, I don't care, okay? Because it's not their body. I don't care. And you shouldn't care what other people think either.
Yeah, I started, I'm a fat kid losing weight, man. I got an expectation to uphold. You know, I get people all the time, haters, that are like, oh, he's gonna quit, crash diet, blah, blah, blah. But then, you know, there's kids that tell me, you know, you got me out of bed today. You're the best person on the internet. Like, I love you. If I can motivate someone, one person a day, to do something, to better themselves, I'm gonna do everything in my power to keep myself going. And that means not quitting. And that means looking a certain way, always developing, always growing. And, you know, because if I quit, I'm letting down thousands of
I used to feel a lot of pressure, but I think with practice, you get over those pressures, you learn how to deal with it and understand that the pressure is really from yourself. It's internalized. Like, you're thinking about what others think of you, when in reality they could care less. They don't even see the little things.
That's exactly it. I think we should stop worrying about what other people think.
But it's so hard. I mean, like, I could say that every day, and
it is.
I still think about what people think. Like,
it is. We all do. But that's something that is a good challenge for all of us. You know, that's something that we need to really just try. And once we get on that road, it's not easy. We're gonna have days where we're just gonna be like, oh, he thinks, I think. But if we can get past that, even just a little bit, it's just gonna make our lives even easier. You know, just stop worrying about other people. Worry about yourself. Yeah.
I also just feel like, you know, like everybody else, this is my account and you are a guest here. You know, I have had to learn to not be that way. So, and for Nick, I understand that, you know, your social media and your journey is very different. Like, I could clearly see how people or your following would have those expectations for you to continue to lose the weight. It's like, okay, well, we joined this guy so that we could join his journey on his weight loss. So we only want to see him doing the weight loss. Like, you better not like plateau or gain. You know, I could definitely see that.
Well, it's a sense of accountability, and it really helps me keep my shit going. Otherwise, I would have dropped out a long time ago, to be honest. And I don't do like, this is how to do a curl and things like that. I just do like how I feel. I sort of have a self-deprecating outlook on myself and how I feel, and it's sort of like a military style thing. Like, you're trash, like, you will never be good, just give up type thing to myself.
Now, is this the most healthy mindset? No. But I do find it very common, like, even for me, I'm me, like, talking about myself. But I hated myself. I hated the way I looked, hated the way I felt, hated everything, really. And I used that as motivation in the gym. Like, it helped me push very hard. And if that helps him make a change, I'm not necessarily opposed to that, honestly. Because sometimes that is the most motivating thing. Like, it's really hard to be like, I love myself. Like, now I'm like, yeah, like, I want to take care of my body and I want to look good. Like, I like the way I look, but I want to look better. I want to look better. I want to get stronger. But when you're really starting out, you need a really strong reason to change. And if hating yourself is the reason, I hate saying this because, like, I don't want people to hate themselves, but it works. It works.
I think that's interesting that you say that, because the content that I post is not just for people. It's mostly for me, and it's part of my own. It's like, it's cathartic to see myself in like sweating, like trying to do a headstand and falling, or looking glam for an event, and everything between. So being authentic and like showing up as I am, whether people like it or not, or expecting it or not, is an exercise in self-love. It helps me accept myself. I was really shy as a kid, and also, you know, overweight or fat. I think the misconception is that I wasn't intelligent and that I was lazy. Like, that's a lot of the bullying I got, right? Yeah, I don't think I dealt with it well. It wasn't until later in life where I started to kind of reject that narrative.
Weight loss programs are toxic.
They're all
Fitness promoters are promoting these weight loss programs or these diets that aren't working for everyone. And it's kind of sad to see, because it's really affecting people and like the way they see fitness and health, and it's toxic.
I think, and the focus is always, or it seems to be like, just lose the weight, just lose the weight, just lose the weight, and then you'll be happy and everything will be okay and you'll feel good and you'll fit into that. But it's like, whoa, I can lose all that weight and I could still be miserable.
Personally, in my journey, one of my biggest points is I do not use a scale, because goals to me are limitations. And when you hit that goal, you get comfortable, AKA complacent. You're like, oh, I'm gonna lose 10 pounds and then I'm good. And so I don't focus on the weight, I focus on everything else.
I was really trying to wait to comment on this till they were all done speaking, but I do find that even for me, like when, again, I'm talking about myself all the freaking time, but when it comes to setting goals, like if I have a thing, I'll be really locked in, and as soon as I'm done, I'm so lazy. So I actually kind of like this. I think it's important to have like micro and macro goals, and especially when it comes to your health and fitness, because you want to make sure you're making progress, obviously, because those things are measurable. And if you're not making progress on the scale, there are things you can look at, like your food, your sleep, your training, everything. But in general, yeah, I agree.
I focus on, getting out of bed, that routine of going to the gym, the routine of eating healthy, that normal feeling of like a caloric deficit and things like that.
That's a good way to do it too. I'm a fitness trainer too, and I tell my clients, I'm like, the scale really doesn't tell you much. You're gonna fluctuate. It's water weight, it's a lot to it. You gotta look at yourself in the mirror. You gotta see those physical changes.
I don't even think it's the physical changes, because I'm gonna be straight up. I probably had body dysmorphia for a little bit, and I would always like check myself in the mirror. Like after eating, I would check myself because I wanted to keep a six-pack, because the fitness industry told me that I needed a six-pack. You hear fitness influencer, and like the first thing you think is like weight loss program, selling a course. And I purposely wore this shirt this morning just to see like if there would be any extra bias. One thing I noticed about fitness, being in this space for so long, is that just because you're into fitness doesn't mean you're into health.
That is so true. Oh, we're up close and personal now. I need to lower this. It's pissing me off. A lot of fitness influencers are all about fitness, okay, but they're actually taking steroids. They don't actually care about their health, especially mental health, because, they promote all the gambling apps. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. But yeah, just because you look good doesn't mean you're healthy on the inside. You can still have a lot of health complications. So it's super important to prioritize your health over how you look, but there's nothing wrong with trying to look good or looking good.
I told everyone that I dealt with body dysmorphia, and I think in terms of dealing with it, it's just learning that my value is not completely tied to my appearance. There's so many other things that I can see value in myself now. I really do enjoy the autonomy I have over my own health and my own wellness.
I think that's super
I
important
have
too. A lot of
suffered from
people get
eating
really
disorders.
fixated on how their body looks, especially me. Okay, I will say every time there's a mirror, I do flex a little bit.
I didn't
We'll
realize
admit
it
okay.
until
I'm trying,
a couple
I'm
years
trying
after.
not to, because I don't want to be super self-centered. But when I first started in the gym, that's all I could talk about. I would only talk about gym, blah, 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 body. Who cares? Like, you are so much more interesting than how your body looks. And that was all I could talk about. So, and also running. Like, I would talk about that too. But it's kind of related. I'd be like, guys, I'm so fast. Did you know I just, see, now I'm bragging again, guys. Some things never change. No, but, I started reading, playing chess, doing other hobbies, and learning about other things, and to not be boring. Because if all you can bring to the table is how you look, you're not really bringing anything to the table. So
I have suffered from eating disorders.
I didn't realize it until a couple years after, but I was tracking every food. I did track calories, macros. Man, I had my scale and I would bring it to the college's dining hall. I would weigh everything. And it would get to the point where I would either eat before going out, if I knew my friends were gonna go out to eat, I would eat at home so I could measure all the food out, put it into MyFitnessPal, and then go out and not eat with them. Or I would probably just not go out at all.
Food and fitness really took over my life for a few years. I was super, super obsessed with just, getting that goal weight.
there's nothing necessarily wrong with tracking your food all the time. Especially if you're a bodybuilder or you have specific goals, you do what you gotta do. This is just the facts. And if going out to eat is going to mess with your goals, don't do it or eat before. However, there is a point to life where it's you have to still enjoy it. If you're gonna be completely miserable, then that's not ideal. It's not ideal, obviously. It's not good to be miserable. No, but you want to pick things that are going to integrate into your life. And going out to eat with friends, like spending time, that is so important. Human connection is very important, and that does often happen over food. That doesn't mean you have to compromise. It doesn't mean you have to eat things that it doesn't make your body feel good. It doesn't mean you have to do things like drink a lot of alcohol or do whatever. Like, but it is still important to have connections, and going out to eat and spending time with your family and friends is important to a lot of people. So
For looking good and everything like that. And I found myself just super depressed, and I, didn't eat the foods I wanted to eat, and I over-exercised, and I wasn't myself. It was just a horrible point in my life, and I had to go see a doctor. I had to get that help. Mentally, I wasn't there. So these things are real. Like, this stuff happens, and people don't reach out enough.
Eating disorders are mental also. It's not like a physical thing. It's very much a mental disorder.
The last time I had really restricted my eating, I needed to lose like almost 30 pounds in like 11 days. And I did that, and I stepped on the wrestling mat, and I had absolutely no strength. I had no energy, no strength. I got whooped. I got tossed up and down the mat. And then after that, I told myself that I would never do it again. But of course, out of bad habits, I just picked up another bad habit and then began to enjoy binge eating. And then it was like, okay, well, now I'm not restricting anything, and now everything goes.
And how are you now?
Now I'm much better. Therapy, medication, every day practicing, doing the right kinds of things. I'm much better now.
I suffered from an eating disorder. I had childhood trauma, and it took me until my adulthood to realize I was pacifying with food, and that's something that was taught to me. And then on the other end of that, with extreme dieting, like I did the HCG protocol, where you eat 500 calories a day and give yourself an injection for months on end. And so I have done the full spectrum.
See, that's not like a full spectrum. That is an ultimate extreme. That's not going to work. If I will say, before I actually get into like the details of dieting, things like that, I do want to say, like, childhood trauma, people do go to food for comfort a lot. It doesn't even have to be from trauma. It just can be from anxiety and just everyday stressors. So you really want to, some things are, you need to actually seek guidance, medical guidance. But if it's for other reasons and you do just go for food for comfort, you do have to kind of regulate that and think before you eat. It can be very easy when you're tired from a long day just to go eat, and you have to use those mental cues. Like, really think to yourself, like, why do I want this? Am I actually hungry? Is this something that I actually want to eat before you go eat it, if that is something that you struggle with? But when it comes to her full spectrum, binging and restricting on a 500 calorie deficit, or not deficit diet, that is not a full spectrum. That is both extremes on both ends, which are both going to lead to dramatic results that are not great. That is why the best way to lose weight is in a small, sustainable calorie deficit that you can sustain, include foods that you enjoy, and just ride that wave until you lose weight. It's honestly pretty simple, and it shouldn't be super difficult if you go about it the right way.
The 500 calorie diet, was that something with like a medical professional that they recommended?
Yeah.
How was that? Like,
It was traumatic. It drove me into a spiral. Like, I can relate to what you're saying about like bringing your scale and eating before you went out.
But 500 calories is literally one meal. It's not even one meal. Like, I'm pretty sure my breakfast was more than 500 calories.
With your friends, because that was me. It's really, it's taken so much time for me to get to a point to even know what I like to eat. And it took me until like 25, 30 to even realize, okay, I don't actually like eating that. I actually don't like this. I like this. And it's been really healing to like reclaim my relationship with food and to say like, okay, this is what I like and this is what makes me feel really good.
As a fitness influencer, what are some things I can do that helps out the other side, which would be fat influencers? What are like certain things that you guys promote that you could see me promoting?
Really want people to stop looking at fat people and all of a sudden becoming medical professionals and telling me about high blood pressure and diabetes, because again, you're not a medical professional, right? Like Let's like let the fat people do the mukbangs too, you know?
The video's almost over, so I'm going to just hold off on the commentary until the end. But you don't have to be a medical professional to know the risks of being overweight and the benefits of lifting and eating healthy. Okay? There's so much research out there. Why can't I speak? There's so much research out there that is for free that you can double check and you can make sure that is accurate. So I do get it, because you shouldn't just be listening to random people on the internet, or even random people in real life, because a lot of people don't know what they're talking about. But if you just do your own research, you'll see that a lot of these claims do have some truth to it, which he probably knows.
Like, if you want to do one, that is so cool. But if a fat person wants to do one, let us just do it in peace. You know, that would be my takeaway. Because you never know what we're doing behind the scenes. You don't know how many therapists, how many doctors, dietitians. You have no idea how many things that we've had.
I want to know a little bit more about the beauty standard on, we're in 2021 and it's not like back in the day now. Are we making the right direction? Is that good?
I think it's reactive. It's good. Like,
Yeah.
visibility is important. I've talked about this before earlier. I think that we all deserve to be represented, no matter what we look like, no matter what the status of our health. We should all see ourselves in the world. So I think, there is progress being made. There are brands that are making sizes that more people can wear. We are seeing body diversity on magazines and things like that. But it's very reactive, and it's very tied into commerce and marketing.
Yeah.
So is it real?
It's not real, especially for those high fashion or whatever. Like, those big brands are going to pick models that they think are going to make their clothes look best. And once the body positivity faded, like, you can see that they were so I can't even think of the example right now, but with that one like fat model, she got so much work and then immediately like she has nothing now, because it's not a trend anymore. It's not trending like it was before. They're just using it as a marketing scheme. That's why you have to be very careful, because people will like use the stuff, like people use these movements and make so much money off it. They really just take advantage of like the actual cause. That's why a lot of these things, they're good in theory, but you just can't support them because it just became a money-making scheme.
No.
Unfortunately.
But it's part of our culture, and it's slowly shifting for whatever reason, like regardless. It will eventually have an impact on society as a whole. So yes and
Did you
no.
catch that reference?
Is it going to promote people to think it's okay to be overweight?
Here's the thing, people have been fat since people have existed.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it okay, by the way. Just because people have been fat since people existed doesn't make it healthy. People used to drink their own piss. I don't know. Like, well, no, they used to throw it on the street. Doesn't make it okay.
I don't think that showing us as we are is going to have a negative impact. We are here. We have always been here. You can go to the Louvre and see sculptures of fat people. Fat people have always been around.
Being a fitness influencer, it's good to see that perspective from everyone too. We all have our differences, but as long as we stay on the path that we want to stay on, healthy, mentally, physically, emotionally, we're going to be okay. And it's okay to get help. It always is okay to get help.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay, so final thoughts. I think that was an interesting debate. I don't think they didn't really debate. They were all pretty much on a similar playing field. Because this is an older video, I think Jubilee got a little better at finding people who are a little more controversial, which does make it a little more interesting, but also you can see different perspectives. But I did enjoy this because everyone seemed pretty level-headed, pretty normal. But my opinion still is what it is. Like, it's not going to change what I think, but it's cool. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree with everything I said? If you disagree, please feel free to leave comments, because I love to hear different opinions, and this is an open discussion. So leave a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.